Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know, from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars, topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
Alright, and welcome to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, and I am your host, Jesse Tapia. Alright, it is Monday, obviously, the day after Sunday. It is April 16th, I believe. Yes, April 16th, and Game 1, all the Game 1s have finished. All right, now we know who's leading who. Thunder up 1-0 on the Jazz. Golden State's up 1-0 on the Spurs. Houston's up 1-0 on Minnesota. And then you got New Orleans, who was 1-0 up on Portland. Then over in the East, we got Boston up 1-0 over Milwaukee. Toronto's up 1-0 on Washington. The Pacers are 1-0 up on Cleveland. And then Philly is up 1-0 on Miami. All right. Basically, you know how we did Friday's show. We pretty much did a preview for each series and all that. Now for this, pretty much how we're going to be going for the rest of the playoffs. We're going to be talking about 2 games each segment and pretty much just recapping them, talking about them. All right. So for today's show, we're going to be doing, because we did one, we pretty much did an order on Friday. Now we're going to go through, I guess, we're going to start with the most intriguing games, like the ones that pretty much generate the most story to talk about and all that. So, like, for instance, for the first segment, we're going to be talking Cleveland and Indiana. And then I guess you could say Philly and, yeah, we'll do Philly and Miami. All right. Second segment, we'll do, let's do Boston, Milwaukee, and then New Orleans. No, I'm going to do Golden State, San Antonio for that one. All right, so we'll do the 2-7 matchups in the second segment. Third segment, we're going to do Houston versus Minnesota. We'll do Toronto versus Washington. And then for the last segment, we'll do Utah versus the Jazz. Or no, Utah versus Oklahoma City, excuse me. And then we'll do Portland versus Minnesota. All right, so that's how the show's going to go. It's going to be a fun one. We're going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it. Everyone's going to enjoy it. All right, so let's get into it. Which game should we start off with first? Let's start off with the Cavs game, obviously, because that's a bit of a big deal right there, isn't it? All right, I mean, Cavs, are they in trouble? Not yet, but let me just say they don't win Game 2, and I do think Game 2 is a must-win already. All right, but nonetheless, let's give the score and the stats and then get right into it. All right, so let's go right here. So we had Indiana obviously facing off with Cleveland in Cleveland, and Indiana just simply blew them out. Cleveland stood no chance whatsoever in this one. All right, Indiana won 98-80. For Indiana, you had Bojan Bogdanovic with 15 points, 6 rebounds, shot 5 of 17, 1 of 6 from the three-point line. Miles Turner had 16 points, 8 rebounds, shot 6 of 9. Darren Carlson struggled in this one, shot 2 of 9, had 6 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Victor Oladipo was couldn't be stopped in this one at all. 32 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 11 of 19, 6 of 9 from the three-point line, and then off the bench, you had Lance Stevenson. All right. What's the story of the game? Not like the story as far as who played the best, because that was Victor Oladipo, but nonetheless, Lance Stevenson created some stories. Had a nice little dunked on like 3 different players from Cleveland on one play, and then had a nice little flagrant foul on LeBron's face, pretty much swiped down on his face and hit him. Lance Stevenson finished with 12 points, 5 rebounds, shot 5-11, 1 of 4 from the three-point line in 17 minutes. And then over in Cleveland, you had LeBron with 24 points, 10 rebounds, 12 assists, shot 7 of 17. Jeff Green, Useg, 0 for 7 from the field, no free throws made in this one, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Kevin Love had 9 points, 17 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 3 of 8, 3 of 6 from the three-point line. George Hill only played 19 minutes in this one, went 3 of 7 from the field, 1 of 3 from the three-point line, 7 points, 3 rebounds. And then Rodney Hood, 9 points, 2 rebounds, shot 4 of 8, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. Larry Nance off the bench had 10 points, 5 rebounds, shot 5 of 7. Let's see. Tristan Thompson only played 2 minutes in this one, didn't do anything. Cedi Osman only played 2 minutes in this one, didn't do anything. Jordan Clarkson had 6 points, shot 2 of 6, 0 of 3 from the three-point line. Jose Calderon played 9 minutes, didn't make a shot. Korver only played 4 minutes, which I don't get. I'm not sure if he, because I didn't get a chance to watch the entire game, but nonetheless, I'm not sure if he just ended up getting hurt or it's just Ty Lue just couldn't find minutes for him. But either way, 4 minutes is just not acceptable there. And then you had J.R. Smith with 15 points, 2 rebound shots, 6 of 11, 3 of 6 from the three-point line. All right, so obviously you know how the game went. You watched it. I watched some of it. And it's just a matter of Cleveland really had no chance really in that game. From start to finish, it was Indiana pretty much doing what they wanted. All right. Cleveland went on a couple of runs. I think they brought it back down to 10, and it's just a matter of they just couldn't finish off the run. All right, they'd get close, and Indiana would pretty much just shut the door on them every time. All right, and it's just with Cleveland. I mean, you saw the stats. You watched the game. No one played well besides LeBron, and even then, so LeBron didn't even shoot the ball relatively well. I mean, a little bit less than 50%, but nonetheless, I mean, he struggled from the three-point line. Kevin Leverly didn't do anything. Jeff Green was 0-fers in this one. I mean, if I'm Cleveland, and again, and this is one thing too, all right? Right before playoffs on Friday, you heard me talk about how, you know what, I'm finally starting to turn the corner on Cleveland. I think they're going to do well. I picked them in 5 games. As soon as I moved from pretty much how I've been all year as far as Cleveland, not really trusting them, thinking they were going to falter and stuff like that. As soon as I switch over and think, yeah, you know what, they could probably do it, pick them in 5, they do this, all right? And again, it's not time to panic or anything like that, but as far as game 2 goes, that's a must-win game. Okay, it definitely is, because if they lose game 2, series is over unless LeBron pulls off something miraculous. And just like with how he did against Golden State when they were down 3-1, I think it was, after down 3-1. LeBron doesn't have a team capable to do that. All right, he just simply doesn't. They lose game 2, you drop both games at home. Indiana, those home fans are going to be going crazy because of the fact they know there's blood in the water. All right, they know they're in the driver's seat. And if you're going to tell me that Cleveland could get 2 in a row in Indiana, I don't believe you. All right, especially with the way this team is put together. I mean, look at it this way, okay? On the Utah Jazz, Rodney Hood was coming off the bench. There was no spot for him to start. All right, and Cleveland's putting him into the starting lineup. All right, they're putting a role player into their starting 5. Obviously, you normally would think that wouldn't work. All right, Jeff Green, I've been a more Jeff Green defender this year. Been playing well, but nonetheless, I mean, just struggled in this one. Larry Nance, I mean, he got plenty of minutes, played 30 minutes, had 10 points, 5 rebounds. It's just a matter of Cleveland just doesn't have a good team. All right? And I'm sorry, Indiana fans, for going against you guys at the worst possible moment because of the fact that if I would have stayed where I was, I would have probably been more so right. But nonetheless, I mean, Cleveland just doesn't have a good team here. All right? That's what it is. And again, the series isn't over or anything like that. Let's not overreact. If Cleveland wins game 2, then we're back right where we started. But nonetheless, it's like Cleveland didn't look good at all in game 1. All right? Like, at all. Fans were booing them off the court. It's just, I don't know. LeBron's never lost in the first round, but we very well could see it happening here. All right? And as far as Indiana goes, I think Victor Oladipo pretty much put the nail in the coffin right here. Talked about after the game. I can't remember his exact quote, but it's pretty much, people shouldn't be surprised. It's just no one ever watched us. And it's true. Indiana does not get any TV time whatsoever. All right? And maybe it's just a matter of, with that, them not being on TV and stuff, we don't really get to see them, so we doubt them. All right? But Indiana just might be, because I've followed a couple of Pacers fans on Twitter, a couple of Pacers writers, and they talk about how this team is something special, and I'm kind of like, are they really, or are they just like a middle-of-the-pack type team? And Indiana very well could be something special. So we'll see what goes on for game 2. But like I say, Cleveland's got to win that one. It's already a must win. All right. I mean, I think Ty Lue said he couldn't even get the best 5 out there on the court. What does that even mean? How do you not get your best 5 out there on the court? All right. I'm not sure if it's Ty Lue getting out coached, if it's just Indiana's just a more superior team to Cleveland, even with LeBron, or maybe they just came out flat and they'll be ready for the next one. But either way, like I said, I mean, game 2 is a must win for Cleveland. So we'll see what goes on there. But as for the other game, like I said, Philly versus Miami. All right. I picked Miami to win this series. I'm still going to stick with them. I'm not going to go flip-flopping or anything like that. And I'm not going to go flip-flopping on the Indiana and Cleveland series. I mean, if it's a matter of, I still pick Cleveland to win. It's obviously not going to happen in 5, but I'm still picking Cleveland to win. And, I mean, if Indiana shows that like how they did in game one, I mean, I am going to eventually say, yeah, Indiana's going to win the series, but I'll just go out and say I was wrong on picking the series. That's no problem with me. But either way, like I said, with Philly and Miami, I mean, Philly was on something else here. They won this game 130 to 103. For Miami, you had James Johnson with 13 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 5 of 9, 2 of 2 from the 3-point line. Josh Richardson struggled in this one big time, 4 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 1 of 7, 0 of 4 from the 3-point line. Hassan Whiteside only played 12 minutes in this one. All right, 2 points, 6 rebounds, shot 1 of 4 from the field. Goran Dragic had 15 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 4 of 14 from the field, 3 of 4 from the 3-point line. Tyler Johnson only had 9 points. Off the bench, Kelly Olynyk's the only one who really showed up in this game. He had 26 points, 7 rebounds, shot 9 of 13, 4 of 5 from the 3-point line. Winslow had 9 points, 7 rebounds, and then you had Dwayne Wade with 11 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 4 of 7 there. For Philly, all right, like I said, these guys could not miss whatsoever, I feel. Let's see, yeah, they shot 64% from the field. All right, Dario Saric had 20 points, 6 rebounds, shot 8 of 15, 4 of 6 from the 3-point line. Robert Covington was okay, I guess, 9 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 3 of 8. Ben Simmons had 17 points, 14 assists, 9 rebounds, shot 5 of 13. JJ Redick could not miss in this one. 28 points, 2 rebounds, shot 8 of 13, 4 of 6 from the 3-point line. Off the bench, Aaron Ilyasova was a big help for this team. Played some big minutes here. 17 points, 14 rebounds, shot 7 of 15, 3 of 4 from the 3-point line. Dude was getting a lot of second chance opportunities there. He's pretty much fighting harder than anyone else on Miami as far as getting boards. I mean, the dude was just, might have honestly been Philly's best player on the night. Obviously, Ben Simmons nearly had the triple-double, but if you're watching it on Ilyasova, the dude was making all the big-time plays that you need. All right, Fultz only played 14 minutes in this one, had 5 points, 4 assists, shot 1 of 4. And then you had Marco Bellinelli with 25 points, shot 9 of 17, 4 of 7 from the 3-point line. If I'm Miami, I mean, you're just moving on to the next one, okay? Nothing you could really do as far as this game goes. It's just a matter of Philly just couldn't miss. All right, even when Miami was D'ing them up, Philly was taking bad shots. They were just hitting everything. So it's just a matter of, hats off to Philly. They played extremely well. I mean, I can't knock a team for making shots, right? But it's like, I don't know. It was kind of weird, like watching Philly, because it was close after the first half. I think Miami was even up after the first half, and the second half comes, and Miami just really couldn't do anything. They were turning the ball over, couldn't hit a shot. Philly was taking advantage. Philly was just all around the better team in that game. All right? I mean, and like I said, as far as Miami goes, it's just a matter of you pretty much just tip your hat off to them and look forward to the next one, which is going on tonight. All right? I'm not sure. I don't think Joel Embiid's going to be playing tonight. I mean, there hasn't really been any updates on him so far, but nonetheless, I mean, just as far as that game goes, it's just a matter, there's nothing really to say about it. Philly was the better team. They couldn't miss. Miami couldn't play defense, and even when they did, Philly was just thriving. All right, Miami couldn't score, and that's one thing, too, with Miami. It kind of concerned me. I mean, they don't have that one player that could kind of take over. It's not Dragic. They play team ball. Dwayne Wade's past his prime, not really what he once was, so it's just a matter of you're going to need someone to step up, and if not, Philly is going to win this series, but I'm still going to stick with Miami. It's only one game. I think I did pick Philly to win game one anyway, so we'll see about it. Tonight's going to be a big difference. It's going to tell us something, all right? Miami loses. I'm still riding with them because you're going back to Miami, but it's just a matter of let's say they keep it close and lose, that's one thing. If they get blown out again, series is over. So we'll see how it all ends up. But like I said, I mean, Philly just unstoppable in that game. It was just ridiculous. Could not miss at all. Marco Bellinelli was hitting fadeaway 3-point shots. Aaron Ilyasova was playing like he was 10 feet tall. It was just ridiculous. Philly played extremely well there, and the fans were going wild. So that's all I got to say about that. Like I said, next up, we're going to be talking about Boston and Milwaukee and then Golden State and San Antonio. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. We spent that first segment talking about the Philly-Miami game and the Cleveland-Indiana game. Obviously, with Cleveland, like I said, Game 2 is a must-win because it's not like you lose Game 2, we get to go back home. No, you're going over to Indiana where it's going to be even tougher to win, which is just ridiculous how Cleveland played in that first game. I mean, I don't know. It was garbage. It was terrible. There's nothing else to say about it. It was just awful, terrible. I mean, Ty Lue got out-coached. The team got outplayed. I mean, it was just ridiculous. Like, there was no effort, all right? From start to finish, literally, it was not even a game. It was a blowout, all right? Indiana got up, 30-10, 30-14 or something like that? It's just a matter of Cleveland's really got to step up in the second game. Ty Lue says he wants LeBron to start out aggressive and all that. I mean, it's just a matter of LeBron played all right. Everyone else on that team was just absolutely terrible. Everyone. All right? It's not LeBron's fault that this team is completely terrible. It's just trash, honestly. All right? LeBron's not on this team. They're not winning more than 25 games. So they got to come out and they got to win Game 2. Like I said, I mean, it's a must-win there. And as far as Philly and Miami goes, I mean, Philly just couldn't miss. Miami, no matter how well they played defense or whatever. And one thing too with Philly, they were making all the hustle plays. They were diving for loose balls. They were getting pretty much, there was 5 different jump balls, I think, in the second half, just because Philly was just outplaying Miami. That's what it was. Philly was just outplaying Miami, and Miami just needs to play harder in Game 2, which is tonight. So we'll see how it all goes down. But for this game, we're going to be talking about the 2 versus 7 matchup. So let's get into it. Let's start off with the one in the West. All right, we had San Antonio facing off with Golden State, and I mean, Golden State really had no trouble whatsoever in this one. They won 113-92. For the Spurs, you had LaMarcus Aldridge with 14 points, only 2 rebounds, which is ridiculous. Shot 5 of 12. Patty Mills had 5 points, played 27 minutes, only shot 2 of 5. Dejounte Murray had 8 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 3 of 6. Danny Green had 6 points, shot 2 of 4 from the 3-point line. Off the bench, you had Rudy Gay with 15 points, 6 rebounds, shot 5 of 12 from the field, 2 of 4 from the 3-point line. Is it Brian Forbes or Brian? Brian. It's a Brian because it's Brian. I think it's Bryn. I'm going to call him Brian. Brian Forbes had 14 points, 3 rebounds, shot 4 of 8. Tony Parker, 1 of 8 from the field, only 2 points. Manu played 17 minutes in this one, 3 of 6, had 9 points, 3 rebounds. I mean, Pau Gasol, 6 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds. San Antonio did nothing. It was just absolute a garbage performance. Almost as bad as Cleveland's performance there. I mean, for Golden State, you had Draymond with 12 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds, shot 5 of 13, 2 of 6 from the 3-point line. Andre Iguodala got to start in this one, 3 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 1 of 4 from the field. Kevin Durant had 24 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, shot 9 of 17, 1 of 4 from the 3-point line. JaVale McGee got off to a hot start in this one. He started the game, had finished off with 15 points, 4 rebounds, shot 5 of 7, like I said. And then Klay Thompson, I mean, the dude couldn't miss. All right, only missed 2 shots the entire game, had 27 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 11 of 13, 5 of 6 from the 3-point line. Spurs are going to get swept. I'm calling it now. It's not going to be a gentleman's sweep or anything like that. I'm calling it now. They're going to get swept. I said Warriors in 6. I'm saying Warriors in 4 now. It's over. Spurs absolutely have no chance whatsoever in this one. All right. We saw Philly. I mean, Philly, if anything, Miami played worse than San Antonio did in this one. They got blown out even worse, but I still think they have a chance. San Antonio has no chance whatsoever, all right? Already ruled out Kawhi Leonard for the rest of the playoffs. He's done. And with that whole thing, I mean, Kawhi Leonard, I'm not really sure what's going on with the guy, but there's no way he ends up back in San Antonio after this. Because, I mean, at one point he was cleared to come back, and he just, nope, I'm not coming back. I'm not sure if it's a matter of he's got problems with Popovich. He's got problems with the team. He's got problems with the trainers. But nonetheless, he's not coming back. Spurs aren't winning a game. It's over. Just like I said, it's done. They had stood no chance in this game whatsoever. Golden State was pretty much running circles around him. Kevin Durant was playing well. And, I mean, the only way I said the Spurs would even make this a series is if Kawhi Leonard came back. And it's just a matter of it's not happening. And maybe I'm a little bit overreacting because of the fact that San Antonio is just a terrible road team, all right? At home, they're one of the best in the league, but it's just on the road, they're garbage. And like I said, it's just maybe I'm overreacting, but I just do not see them putting up a fight. I mean, LaMarcus Aldridge is supposed to be the guy that's going to lead them without Kawhi Leonard. Only had 2 rebounds in this one. Only 14 points, too. Patty Mills has been struggling all year. Not really what San Antonio probably expected him to be this season. Danny Green has really been a quiet role player that really doesn't do too much. Rudy Gay played all right. 15.6 rebounds off the bench. Tony Parker is a shell of his old self. Manu Ginobili, I mean, you can't really expect much out of him. Ginobili plays well. Cool. If not, there's that. All right. As far as the Warriors go, I mean, nothing really to say about them, right? I mean, playing exactly how you'd expect them to. I figured they'd come out a little bit flat because they haven't really been to playing well without Steph Curry, but nonetheless, I mean, they came out and played as if the guy was playing. All right? San Antonio really stands no chance whatsoever in this series, I feel. And I'm not trying to be too harsh or anything like that. I know there's probably some San Antonio fans out there with a little slimmer of hope, but it's just a matter of, I mean, honestly, what do you expect them to do against the Warriors? All right? The Warriors came out and just beat them down. It wasn't even close. All right, it's not like San Antonio made a run and then Golden State pulled away. Like it was, I feel like San Antonio was down 20 for the majority of the game. It's just, it wasn't close. They weren't hitting shots, weren't playing well. It's just, they don't match up well with Golden State at all. It's not going to work out. All right, I got Golden State in 4 now. I guess my prediction as far as games played in the series was wrong, but nonetheless, I mean, that's fine. So let's see, we got Milwaukee. That's the next thing we're going to talk about for this segment. Milwaukee versus Boston. This was probably the funnest game of the weekend. Maybe Houston and Minnesota. Actually, Portland and New Orleans was a fun one too. I think Portland and New Orleans might have been a little bit better than the Celtics one, but nonetheless, let's get into it. All right, Milwaukee ended up losing in overtime to Boston, 107-113. For Milwaukee, you had Giannis Antetokounmpo. He had 35 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, shot 11 of 21. Chris Middleton had 31 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 12 of 20, 5 of 7 from the three-point line. John Henson played 37 minutes in this one, had 7 points, 6 rebounds, shot 3 of 6. Eric Bledsoe, poor guy, was just being abused out there. Dude looked lost, wasn't playing well at all, fouled out, only had 9 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 4 of 12. Off the bench, I mean, Jabari Parker was bad in this one. Only 2 points, 4 rebounds, shot 1 of 5, only played 15 minutes. Malcolm Brogdon played pretty well, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 6 of 13, 2 of 6 from the three-point line. And then off the bench, you had, or not off the bench, that was off the bench, but I mean, for Boston, you had Al Horford, 24 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists. Only took 8 shots in this one. 5 of 8 from the field, 1 of 2 from the three-point line. Milwaukee didn't have an answer for him on both ends of the spectrum. All right, as far as offense and defense goes, Al Horford was locking down Giannis. Yes, Giannis put up 35 points, but nonetheless, when it mattered most, I mean, he couldn't really do much against Horford. Horford was playing well defense. I mean, even guarding, so sometimes they'd switch and he'd have to guard some of the guards on the perimeter, and they couldn't do much there too. And as far as the offensive end goes, I mean, Horford was just too physical for him. I really haven't seen Horford play a game like this so far with the Celtics. All right, and I'm not one of those guys that says Horford's overrated or he's not that good, because I mean, he has played well all season long, probably been one of their best players, one of their most consistent players, but it's just a matter of, I haven't seen this Al Horford all year. Dude was playing bully ball out there, and he's not even like a big center or anything like that. Guy played extremely well. Like I said, 24 points, 12 rebounds. Jason Tatum stepped up big time in this one, played like a seasoned vet, had 19 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 8 of 18. Terry Rozier, I mean, pretty much same thing with Tatum, played like a seasoned vet here. 23 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 7 of 18. Ended up hitting a shot at the very end, like not the very end of the regulation, hit a shot. There was 0.6 left on the clock after he hit it. And I mean, poor Eric Bledsoe goes out to guard him. Terry Rozier goes one way, then goes the other, hits a step back. And I mean, Eric Bledsoe stuck on the elbow of the paint. Dude was lost, couldn't do anything there. Like I said, Rozier drilled the shot. And after that, I mean, you figure game's over. Rozier just ended Bledsoe's pretty much professional career doing that. But nonetheless, you got Chris Middleton who gets the inbounds pass. Like I said, there's only 0.6 left. And Middleton throws it up. And it's not even like Middleton just threw it up like one of those one-arm shots. Like Middleton somehow got like a perfect shot off, swishes it in, it goes to overtime, and it's just Boston. Like Milwaukee really couldn't do much against Boston. Milwaukee really only made it close because of the fact that they get into the free throw line at the end of the game. All right, if Boston doesn't get into foul trouble early on in the fourth quarter, I don't even think this game goes to overtime. But nonetheless, I mean, can't knock Milwaukee. And then you had Jaylen Brown with 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 9 of 19, 2 of 5 from the three-point line. Started off the game pretty shaky. He wasn't really getting too much going in the first half, but second half comes, and he was playing like pretty much the leader he needed to be with Kyrie out. And then off the bench, you had Marcus Morris with 21 points, 7 rebounds, shot 8 of 20 from the field, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. Played a big role in this game for the Celtics. I mean, without him, they don't win this game. Was making a lot of hustle plays. All right, got fouled on a three-point shot, hit the free throw. There's one where his shot rimmed out, ends up putting back his own shot. And it's just a matter of the dude played really well, took a charge, I think, in this one too. And then you had Shane Larkin. He had 5 points, 2 of 4 shooting, 1 of 3 from the three-point line. Shane Larkin, first half you could tell he had the jitters. All right, just wasn't playing well, was kind of struggling a bit, turning the ball over a lot. And it's just a matter of picked it up in the second half, so that's all you could ask for there. But as far as this game goes, I mean, it was a fun one. Milwaukee, I guess, could walk away with a positive as a matter of Giannis and Middleton played well, but like Bledsoe, Parker just didn't play well at all, and they ended up losing in overtime. That's the silver lining here, all right? You had two of your players play well. The rest of the team really didn't do too much, but nonetheless, you lost in overtime to the second seed in the East. And as for Boston, I mean, the good thing here is Jason Tatum stepped up. Al Horford stepped up, became a leader. Jaylen Brown played really well. Terry Rozier, pretty much the guy who wants to take the last shot. And then off the bench, you got Marcus Morris, who's been a monster all season. Easily the Celtics' best bench player all year. So, I mean, no surprises here. I expected both teams, meaning Golden State and Boston, to win game one. Like I said, Milwaukee's a team where they got to limit turnovers, and they got to figure out a way to get to the rim. All right, they were settling for a lot of mid-range shots, and that's exactly what Boston wants you to do. They want you to settle for mid-range. They want the hand in the face there. All right, so they got to figure out what's going on as far as maybe hitting more three-pointers and like getting into the whole lot more. Because like I said, if they're settling for mid-range the entire game, it's just not going to work out for them. And as for San Antonio, I mean, enjoy watching them. As far as the fans go, enjoy watching San Antonio because this series, you got about 3 more games left before you're out. So we'll see how it all ends up. But that's going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to be talking about the 1 versus 8 matchup. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA, from the UFC to extreme cage fighting. They got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. So far, we've talked about the Cavs-Pacers game. We've talked, what else did we talk about? What else did we talk about in the first game? We talked Cavs-Pacers. We've talked Golden State. Yeah, we talked Philly-Miami, Golden State versus San Antonio, and Milwaukee versus Boston. Those games we covered so far. For this segment, we're going to be talking about the 1 versus 8 matchups in both the East and West. So let's get into it. All right, first up, let's talk about the East game. We had Washington facing off with Toronto. I figured Washington was going to win this one. That was my pick on Friday. I was wrong. Washington lost 114-106. For the Wizards, you had Markieff Morris with 22 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 9 of 15, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. Otto Porter had 9 points, 5 rebounds, shot 4 of 7. Marcin Gortat had 12 points, 6 rebounds, shot 6 of 9. John Wall struggled to shoot the ball in this one. 23 points, 15 assists, shot 6 of 20 from the field, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. Bradley Beal shot all right, I guess 50% from the field nearly. 8 of 17 from the field, 2 of 6 from the three-point line, 19 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds. And then off the bench, you had Mike Scott with 14 points, 3 rebounds, shot 7 of 10. For the Raptors, you had Serge Ibaka with 23 points, 12 rebounds, shot 8 of 11, 3 of 4 from the three-point line. Jonas Valanciunas had 9 points, 9 rebounds here, shot 4 of 6. Kyle Lowry had 11 points, 9 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 4 of 9 from the field, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. DeMar DeRozan shot 6 of 17 from the field, 2 of 5 from the three-point line, 17 points, 6 assists. And then off the bench, you had CJ Miles with 12 points, 2 rebounds, shot 4 of 8, 4 of 7 from the three-point line. And then DeLon Wright had 18 points, 4 assists, shot 7 of 10, 3 of 4 from the three-point line. I mean, this game, if you look at it from both teams, it's kind of like they both kind of struggled. I mean, Toronto did put up 114, and then Washington put up 109, but it's just a matter of, I don't think either team was at their best in this one. And one thing that concerns me going over to Toronto is Kyle Lowry. All right. Only took 9 shots in this one. Played 38 minutes, only 9 shots. I understand that maybe Kyle Lowry is a bit nervous as far as his playoff performances, and maybe that's why he's limiting his shots so he doesn't hurt the team. But I don't think, and again, I'm just speculating, give my opinion on it all, but I don't really think that you can go out and do that. All right, you're the second best player on your team, one of the better point guards in the league. You need to go out and you need to take over. All right, you can't be playing scared in the playoffs because of the fact that performances like this from Kyle Lowry are going to get Toronto knocked out before they even reach the Eastern Conference Finals. All right, if you want to be a team that makes the Eastern Conference Finals and want to be a team that makes it to the finals, you need your best players playing well at all times. All right, you can't be having your bench stepping up and having your second best player on the team pretty much just hiding behind the curtains, not really doing much. All right, because you're not going to win that way. All right, with Toronto, it's good that they won this game, obviously, because of the fact that it kind of shows that you can get through the series with your bench. But like I said, it's just a matter of Kyle Lowry's got to step up. All right. And as far as the game goes, I mean, it was a close game throughout. The Wizards looked like maybe they were going to, like, the Wizards never really took over. All right. They kept it close, but they never really got that bucket that got the momentum going, that got them over the hump. And as far as the Wizards go, I mean, it's just a matter of, are they going to be able to do anything with John Wall? All right. I picked the Raptors to win in 7. I still think it'll go 7 games. I'm sure Washington could get a win in game 2 or even get 2 in Washington if they end up losing both games in Toronto. But it's just a matter of, with Washington, they just don't move the needle for me here. All right. With the Raptors, at least, I mean, you can depend on the bench, but with the Wizards, you don't really have a bench to depend on. Mike Scott played well. Sometimes you hope that Kelly Oubre plays well, maybe Tomas Satoransky, who did it in the first game. But nonetheless, I mean, as far as the Wizards go, you need John Wall to play better, and you need this team to play better with John Wall. All right, because if not, they're really not going to do too much. And like I said, as far as the Raptors go, I mean, it's just a matter of Kyle Lowry's got to step up. All right, DeMar DeRozan too. Okay, DeMar DeRozan only had 17 points in this one. You're not going to be able to get through the playoffs playing just banking on the bench. All right, you need these guys to step up. DeMar DeRozan, I mean, that's one guy too in the playoffs. He's not been as bad as Lowry, but we've never really talked about him too much as far as his playoff performance. He hasn't been great, all right? He hasn't really taken over or anything like that. You need those guys to step up and have those kind of performances, all right? And like I said, with Lowry, I mean, it's only one game. Maybe it was just a matter of that's the game plan that was drawn up, all right? Only get him around 9 to 10 shots and let the other guys do their thing. But it's just a matter of it's not going to work throughout the playoffs. You're going to need Lowry to step up, and you're going to need him to do something, all right? You can't be having Drake pretty much giving his little luck over to the Raptors and hoping it works out that way either, all right? So we'll see what goes on with the Raptors. I don't think they're playing tonight. I think they have a game going on tomorrow. Let me see. What do we got going on tonight? I think, it's Miami and Philly at 5, and then we got Spurs and Warriors at 7:30. That's going to be a rough one right there for the Spurs. I'm very curious to see how Game 2 plays out for Philly and Miami. It's going to tell us a lot about the rest of the series, and I'm really curious to see what Miami ends up doing with Hassan Whiteside too, because like I said, he only played 12, 11 minutes in the last game. Pretty much was a non-factor. Didn't really play much of the second half either, so we'll see there. But as far as going back to Toronto and Washington, I mean, it's just a matter of both teams, like I said, didn't play their best basketball in Game 1. And I'm very curious to see what ends up happening for Game 2. But like I said, I mean, Toronto, you score 114. Kyle Lowry only puts up 11 points. You got to be pretty happy with how it went. But either way, let's talk about over in the West. We had Minnesota facing off with Houston, and Houston ended up winning this one 104-101. For Minnesota, you had Taj Gibson with 9 points, 6 rebounds, shot 4-6 from the field. Andrew Wiggins had 18 points, 6 rebounds, shot 7-15, 1-3 from the three-point line. Karl Anthony Towns was basically invisible in this game. All right, only had 8 points, did have 12 rebounds, so I guess he was a nice little presence on the boards, but nonetheless only shot 3 of 9 in 40 minutes, all right? Jeff Teague had 15 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, shot 4 of 9. Jimmy Butler had 13 points, 3 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 4 of 11, 2 of 5 from the three-point line. And then off the bench, you had Jamal Crawford with 15 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 4 of 11, 3-7 from the three-point line. And then Derrick Rose played pretty well in this one. 16 points, shot 50% from the field, 1-2 from the three-point line, 4 assists, 2 rebounds. All right. For the Rockets, you had Trevor Ariza with only 3 points in this one, 5 rebounds, shot 1-6 from the field. PJ Tucker, similar shooting numbers there, 1 of 5 from the field, 1 of 5 from the three-point line. He took all his shots from the three-point line, only had 3 points. And then you had Clint Capella. Clint Capella, I think, is he a free agent this year? I think he might be. I'd have to double check that, but he's going to be getting paid pretty soon, let me say that. All right, he had 24 points, 12 rebounds, shot 10 of 15 from the field. Chris Paul struggled in this one, only 14 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 5 of 14, 1 of 6 from the three-point line. And James Harden played like an MVP here. I had 44 points, I believe he shot 15 to 26 from the field, 7 to 12 from the three-point line, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. All right, obviously from what I just read you, if you didn't watch the game, you know neither team played well. Okay, Chris Paul didn't play well, Jimmy Butler didn't play well, Karl Anthony Towns did not play well. Derrick Rose and Andrew Wiggins probably were the best players for the Timberwolves in that game. And as far as Houston, I mean, they should be extremely happy James Harden plays on that team. All right, if James Harden doesn't go out and put 44 up on Minnesota, Houston doesn't win this game. And I'm very intrigued to see really what's next for this series for Game 2. All right, like I said, Minnesota only lost by 3, and they played extremely poorly. All right, 2 of their best players combined for, let me see, Butler and Towns combined for 21 points on 7 of 20 shooting. All right. That's not great at all. That is terrible. And nonetheless, they only lost by 3. You could point over to the Rockets and say, yeah, they didn't play well. And they ended up winning still. But it's just a matter of how is that going to be the thing here? Is that going to be the theme? We're just going to depend on James Harden to put up 44-point performances game in and game out for these teams, for the Rockets to go out and win ball games. I mean, and again, it's just game 1, and I'm maybe overreacting a bit, but it's just a matter of Chris Paul's got to step up. All right, the rest of his team's got to step up. A lot of these teams that played in their game 1s came out flat. All right, Milwaukee lost, but you saw that they still played pretty well. All right, they didn't play great or anything like that, but did well enough to get the game to overtime. Boston played well. Golden State played well. Cleveland and Indiana played well. Other than that, I mean, I guess you could say, in Philly too. Other than that, I guess you could say the teams that really won weren't really at their best. And maybe it's just playoff jitters or whatnot, but it's just a matter of Houston. I think they're going to end up being fine. I think I said this game would go, I said it'd go 7 games. I'm still kind of wavering on that. I can't really change my pick or anything like that, but as far as my thoughts after the game, I'm not really sure here. All right, both teams really didn't play well throughout the game at all. James Harden pretty much took over, and that's why Houston won. So it's just a matter of we're gonna see what really happens. I mean, is like when Jimmy Butler ends up playing well, maybe he picks it up in the next game. And same with Karl Anthony Towns. And one thing I can't stand with the Timberwolves is that Karl Anthony Towns sometimes I feel was like the third option on that team. After Jimmy Butler, even before Jimmy Butler, Karl Anthony Towns needs his touches. All right, he needs to get shots up. If that means taking shots away from Andrew Wiggins, I'm all for it. And even Andrew Wiggins played well in game 1. But it's just a matter of Karl Anthony Towns is is arguably your best player on that team. Get him the ball, get him to the hole. Tibbs said he needs to be more aggressive, but I think it's just a matter of Tibbs isn't drawing up enough plays for him. I remember in the Nuggets game at the end of the regular season, I mean, Towns wasn't even getting the ball. All right, they were just using him for spacing pretty much, and Butler was taking more shots. Teague was taking more shots than Towns, and it's just a matter of that's one of your best players. Get him the ball. It doesn't matter who it affects or whatever. Get your best players the ball. I don't know why it's so difficult for the Timberwolves to do. And Tom Thibodeau's kind of not on my good side as far as a good coach in the league. I don't know. I just feel like don't like the way Thibodeau coaches. I don't like how he runs his players starting 5 out, pretty much runs them out so they can't go anymore. And I think that he needs to force it. He needs to force the ball down to Towns. He needs to drop more plays for Towns, but we'll end up seeing what happens there. Like I said, game 1, I mean, neither of those teams played well at all, so it's going to be a matter of we'll see pretty much what the series entails once these teams are at their best, and maybe even if they get to their best, so we'll see about it. But anyway, we're going to wrap it up here, and next up we're going to be finishing off the show talking about the other games, Utah versus Oklahoma City, and then Portland versus New Orleans, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. So far today, we've talked about all the playoff games except for two, all right? Now we're going to be talking about New Orleans versus Portland and then Oklahoma City versus Utah. So let's just get into it from the jump, all right? New Orleans ended up knocking off Portland 97-95. I picked Portland to win this game. I have New Orleans win the series, but unless I picked Portland for game one, obviously that didn't work out. And like I said, New Orleans won this one 97-95. For the Pelicans, you had Nikolai Mirotic with 16 points, 11 rebounds, shot 6 of 15, 4 of 10 from the three-point line. Anthony Davis erupted for 35 points, 14 rebounds, shot 14 of 26 from the field. Etuan Moore only took 4 shots in this one, 2 of 4 from the field, 4 points in this one. Rondo had 6 points, 17 assists, 8 rebounds, shot 3 of 9. I know his shooting numbers don't look the best, but nonetheless, the guy played really well in this game. That's exactly what New Orleans is going to need in order for them to get out of this series. You're going to need Rondo to step up and pretty much play like the old Rondo. Not the old Rondo meaning like putting up points and stuff like that, because Rondo eventually will put up like 15, 10 and 10 and stuff like that, but nonetheless, you're going to need him out there facilitating, getting everyone else going. And then for Drew Holiday, you had him with 21 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 10 of 20 from the field, 1 of 5 from the three-point line. Ian Clark, he had 10 points in this one, shot 4 of 5, 2 of 2 from the three-point line. And then Emeka Okafor did not get any minutes in this one. Sad day, sad day. For Portland, you had Al-Farouq Aminu with 7 points, 7 rebounds, shot 3 of 7 from the field. Evan Turner had 13 points, 7 rebounds, shot 6 of 15, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. Joseph Nurkic had 11 points, 11 rebounds, shot 3 of 7. Damian Lillard shot the ball extremely poorly in this one, 6 of 23 from the field, 4 of 9 from the three-point line, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 18 points. And then for CJ McCollum, he shot, I guess, a little below average, 7 of 18 from the field, 4 of 10 from the three-point line, 19 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Like I said, New Orleans won this one 97-95. New Orleans pretty much had control in this one for most of the game, and it's just a matter of late game execution is not what lost the game for Portland, but one thing that kept them from tying it up. Tying it up. They were down by 3 with 12 seconds left, I think it was. Portland tries to go and get the 2. It gets blocked by, who blocked it? Yeah, Drew Holiday blocked it, and Drew Holiday for the last few minutes of that fourth quarter was just unstoppable on the defensive end, was playing extremely well, coming up with steals and getting blocks. But nonetheless, like I said, Portland just didn't play well for most of the game. It came back to bite them in the butt because of the fact that, you can't really expect to go out, play poorly, and try and win in the last second. It's just not going to work out that way. But I'm sure Damian Lillard's going to pick it up. We've seen Damian Lillard, and I'm sure we all know that he's a nice little playoff player. And as far as CJ McCollum goes, I'd like to see him do a little bit more as far as putting up points. What did he put up? I said it was 18 points, I think, or something like that. And it's just a matter of 19 points, and you should want to see him do a little bit more. All right, CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard are going to have to be the leaders of that team. You had Evan Turner, who played all right in this one. He had 13 points, shot 6 of 15, but you're really going to need Damian Lillard and McCollum to step up a whole lot more, all right? Because if not, they're really not going to last in the series. And as far as the Pelicans go, maybe hope Etuan Moore gets a little bit more production out there, takes a bit more shots. Obviously, you're going to need Anthony Davis to get his and Drew Holiday, but when Etuan Moore's playing well for Pelicans, they're they're not unbeatable, but they're a very hard team to beat. All right, so as far as this game goes, it was a fun one to watch. Probably, for me, I guess you could say it was probably the most enjoyable one for me to watch because of the fact that, it was still relatively close throughout, and the last few minutes of the game were one where, you really were on the edge of your seat, wondering what the Trailblazers were going to do. But nonetheless, like I said, New Orleans won this one. As far as who I have winning for the series, I picked New Orleans to win it, and it's just a matter of, let's see, when do they play again? Should be tomorrow, I believe. Yeah, they play tomorrow at 7:30, and you got the Bucks versus the Celtics along with the Wizards and Raptors. So as far as it all goes, Portland's got to have to get this. Same with, Portland, I guess, is in the same predicament as New Orleans. Probably not so, or in the same predicament as Cleveland, all right? Cleveland's playing a tougher team in Indiana, and I do think that Portland can get a game in New Orleans, but it's just a matter of you don't want to go on the road down 2-0. All right, you do that. Chances of you winning, I'm not sure what the exact statistic is about it, but nonetheless, you don't want to go into any road game going down 2-0 in the series. And I'm sure if I did check the statistic, it'd be more so teams who go down 2-0 going in into the other team's home arena just don't really win the series. So we'll see how it all goes down. Damian Lillard's really going to have to step up, and we're going to have to see more out of CJ McCollum. That bench for Portland's got to step up too, because if not, they really stand no chance. But either way, let's talk about the next game. We had Oklahoma City versus the Jazz. This one was in Oklahoma City, and they won 116-108. For the Jazz, you had Derek Favors with 7 points, 5 rebounds, shot 3 of 7. Joe Ingles had 13 points, 2 rebounds, shot 5 of 9, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. Rudy Gobert had 14 points, 7 rebounds, shot 6 of 8. Ricky Rubio didn't shoot the ball well in this one, 5 of 18 from the field, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Donovan Mitchell played well, 27 points, 10 rebounds, shot 11 of 22, 3 of 7 from the three-point line. Jay Crowder had 13 points, 4 rebounds, shot 3 of 10, 3 of 9 from the three-point line. Dante Exum put up 10 points on 4 of 6 shooting, and then you had Alec Burks, only played 2 minutes, put up 10 points. All right, 4 of 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from the three-point line. Let's see, for the Thunder, you had Melo with 15 points, 7 rebounds, shot 5 of 13, 2 of 7 from the three-point line. Paul George had 36 points, 7 rebounds, shot 13 of 20, 8 of 11 from the three-point line. Steven Adams had 12 points, 7 rebounds, and then for Russell Westbrook, he had 29 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists, shot 10 of 25, 0 of 4 from the three-point line. And obviously, like I said, Oklahoma City won this one 116-108. All right, for Oklahoma City, I mean, this is a good win here for the Jazz. You really don't want to go down 1-0 in the series, but nonetheless, I mean, we still got a long series, and I did pick the Jazz to win the series in 5 games. It's probably not going to end up being 5 games, but I still do think that the Jazz are going to end up winning this series. All right, because look at this. And it's kind of like the Houston Rockets thing with the Thunder. All right, if Paul George doesn't erupt for 36 points, do we still think that the Thunder win this game? Honestly, do we? All right, and I know that Utah played poorly, but it's just a matter of they still put up 108. And normally, with a team who has arguably one of the top defenses in the league, you don't normally see them put up 116. All right, I'm not sure that the Thunder are going to be able to sustain this. And with the Thunder, I mean, you need Melo to step up. All right, and maybe it's just a matter of Melo doesn't have it anymore. Maybe it's just that, because you could tell Melo's a bit bigger. All right, he's on the bigger side of things now, and it's just a matter of he's just not the same little versatile player that he used to be. All right, he's not the same scorer, and he probably never will be. And I was talking with Tate before the show, and we were talking about pretty much, is there going to be a market ever again for Melo as far as teams who want him? I think so, but I think it's more so you're paying for the name rather than the player. Kind of like what Cleveland did this year in the beginning when they brought in Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose. And oh boy, I mean, thinking back to that first Cleveland team rather than the new one right now, it's just kind of funny to see because of the fact the team just didn't work out at all. But nonetheless, I mean, as far as the Thunder go, I'm not sure. You're going to need Russell Westbrook to be a whole lot more efficient. 10 and 25 isn't going to get it done. Paul George in the playoffs is a monster, so I think you can count on more performances. Not exactly like this, but unless you can count on him putting up around 25 a game at least, I think, in the playoffs. He's that good. And with Paul George, I think no matter what happens in the playoffs, unless they win the championship, I think Paul George is as good as gone. And it's just a matter of, I think Oklahoma City just might be stuck with Melo. All right, I don't really see a market for him. But as far as, I mean, this game goes, the Thunder never really let their foot off the gas pedal. Donovan Mitchell played well, got a little injury in the game, but nonetheless played through it. Like I said, played well. I think he put up 28 points in this one, I believe it was, 27. And it's just the guys around him. Joe Ingles played okay. Derek Favors really didn't do too much. Ricky Rubio struggled in this one shooting. And then off the bench, I mean, Jay Crowder didn't really shoot the ball well at all. 3 of 10 from the field. Jonas Jerebko only played 4 minutes in this one. Royce O'Neal played the second most minutes off the bench. Only had played 20 minutes, only had 1 point. If you're going to play big minutes off the bench, you're going to need to step up and put up a big contribution. That's one of the biggest things for the Jazz is probably going to have to play guys like Donovan Mitchell and maybe even Alec Burks a little bit more. All right? You're going to need to play your best players. You can't be going out there with guys like Royce O'Neal, expecting him to do much when he's not. And as far as Derek Favors go, I think he's probably his biggest problem is he struggled going up against a guy like Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo's a little bit more athletic than a guy like Favors, and it's just a matter of we're going to have to wait and see what ends up happening as far as the rest of the series goes. Like I said, I got the Jazz winning this series. I'm not too worried about it. I haven't bought into Oklahoma City yet. I just don't trust them right now. All right, I don't trust the fact that they're going to be winning games with Melo playing the way he is. All right, and like I said, if Paul George doesn't put up 36 points in the next game, then what's Plan B? All right, because like I said, Westbrook didn't really shoot the ball well at all. Bench didn't really do too much. All right, so Oklahoma City is going to need to pretty much share the wealth here. It can't just be Paul George doing everything. But nonetheless, I mean, you can't knock Oklahoma City for winning, right? All right, so there's no problem there. They're up 1-0, and it's just a matter of these game ones were pretty good. I feel like a lot of the teams came out flat. Some of them played well, like the Celtics, Pacers, Warriors. Even the Bucks played pretty well. But as far as teams like Oklahoma City, yeah, I guess you could say that too. As far as like teams like the Jazz, the Cavs, even teams that won like Houston, just didn't really look too good so far. And like I said, maybe it's just a matter of playoff jitters, but you're going to need to see these teams stepping up eventually. But let's see what we got going on today. Let's make some picks for tonight's games, then make some picks for tomorrow's game since we're not going to be doing a show tomorrow. Let's see. Tonight we got the Heat and Sixers. I'm going to go with, yes, like I said earlier, I still got Miami as my pick, so I got to go with Miami tonight, and then I got the Warriors winning that one. And then over tomorrow, we got 3 games. We got Washington versus Toronto, Milwaukee versus Boston, and then we got Portland versus New Orleans. All right, I'm going to go with Washington winning game 2. I'm going to go with the Celtics winning game 2 against the Bucks. And then I got the, do I think that Lillard's going to play well, or should I just go with the Pelicans once again? I'm going to go with the Trailblazers. I think Damian Lillard's going to step up from his poor game on Saturday, and I think he's going to play a whole lot better than what he did. So yeah, I'm going to go with them. Those are my picks. And then let's see, on Wednesday's game, we'll be back. We'll be having, I think Cleveland should be playing. It'll be Cleveland, Indiana, Jazz versus Thunder, and then Minnesota versus the Rockets. So that's probably going to be the best night of game 2s right there, because there's going to be a lot of good games. I mean, like I said, it's a must win for Cleveland here. Can't go down 2-0 heading over into Indiana. For the Jazz, I mean, you can afford to go down 2-0, but you normally don't want to, like I said. And then as far as Minnesota and Houston, I'm just curious to see what these teams look like as far as playing their best basketball and who's going to end up taking game 2. I'd have to go with Houston there, but I'll wait for my pick on that one on Wednesday. But nonetheless, we're going to wrap it up here. It was fun. All right, playoffs. There's just something about NBA playoffs. I mean, from Terry Rozier putting up his big shot, Chris Middleton tying the game up with 0.6 left. All right. Drew Holiday coming up with a big block at the end of the game against Portland on Saturday. Golden State pretty much just wiping the floor with San Antonio. I mean, playoffs are always going to give you something to talk about. So, like I said, we'll see how it all ends up. We got a couple of games going on tonight and then 3 of them going on tomorrow. So we'll see pretty much what the series are looking like on Wednesday when we're back. So thanks for listening to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Jesse Tapia. Like I said, we'll be back on Wednesday, so stay tuned and we'll talk to you later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.